Welcome friends, I'm Laku bringing you another Crow Castle build, and today we have the colony build. And as you probably saw from the thumbnail, this is meant for your Orc Colonies, but you can just as well use it in your Infinite Colonies as well, because they are pretty much the same thing. And we're gonna go through the build as usual, take a look at the battle and take a look at the results. Today we're gonna be starting with the skill tree, and we have a whole lot of unused skill points in here, because I was planning on building the build together with you, so you can see which nodes you wanna take and in what order. And we're gonna go down with the summon path. You can also opt to go in with the physical path as well, but we have some strong nodes in here for our summon units and also our crowd control, and we'll see them in just a moment. So we'll go down with the summon path over here, to this crossroad over here. And in here, the first main thing we wanna get is the summon only once node. This will make your summon units pretty much immortal. They will only have to be summoned once, they will deal extra damage. This is strong for your dragon and your colony battles. And to boost this node, we will want to take the leech node so that they will actually heal themselves, so they don't die and they will be immortal. And also, in case they do die, we will take the respawn node as well, so they will be respawned after 5 seconds. This is the first main thing you want to get with your skill points. After this, we will go left from this branch, because we want to take this slinger node over here. This will make your crowd control a lot easier. Your slingers will pierce the enemies, and when you equip them with knockback items, they will be a huge help in keeping the enemy units back at their castle and stop them from storming your castle. So this is the second thing you want to get. And then we want to get also this 2.5% extra damage. And after this one, we go down from the branch and we take the sword node over here, because that's 2.5% extra damage. Those are always a good thing. Then we take a detour here, this crossroad over here, and then we go to the left and we take the increased summoned units damage per end, because we have the druid in the build, and ideally you will want to equip your druid with +1 summoned unit items, so you can have 3 ends on the battlefield, which will give you 30% increased summoned units damage. Great. We have 3 skill points left, so I'm gonna go and take the witch node up here, because that will give us 5% increased damage per witch. We currently have 1 in our build. We could fit in another one if we have the 13th hero slot, but also 5% increased damage, that's not a bad thing. Now if we had more points, we would also like to take the increased critical damage node over here, and then we would like to go down to the crossroad over here and to the left side over here and take the increased leader damage. And if you have even more points, you can take the leech nodes over here to make sure your leader doesn't die during the battle. And if you still have extra points, you can also take the 20% summon units HP if you feel like your summon units are not living, even though they should be living, because they are leeching the damage. And if you still feel like they are dying, you can take this one as well. That's for the skill tree. Then let's take a look at the treasures. For the weapon, we have Thorn Bow as in every other build to boost our critical chance, and we have some defensive treasures over here. We have the Unicorn Shield to boost our castle defense, and the Web to boost our castle range defense, because in Orc Colonies and Infinite Colony, your castle is constantly being bombarded by the enemy attacks, so you will want to have defense so that you don't actually die from those attacks, because those should be the only thing killing you. If the ground monsters are killing you, then you have some other troubles with your build. And we also have the Power Claw to increase our damage, and finally I chose the Skull Ring to increase the summon unit damage. There's kind of options for this slot if you want to use something else. We could use, if you need more defense, you could use Red Potion maybe, to make sure you don't die. You could take the Sharp Arrow for extra critical chance, or you could take the Frozen Heart for extra damage to frozen monsters, because we have the Ice Sorcerer in our build. You can kind of switch out and see which one works for you the best in this slot. The rest of the layout is we have the same buildings as in every other build before, and we also want to have the Altar of Healing for extra HP so we don't die during the battle. In tower section we have the Mirrored Worm. You might not need to mirror your worm in this build, because you are only summoning your summon unit once, so you can switch out the worm and the frozen tower, so you can actually mirror the frozen tower. And the barracks is here to give us a little bit extra bodies on the field. In the castle parts we have the physics base, like in every other physical build video I've made, and also the sealed castle to boost our defense, make sure we can withstand the enemy bombardment. And then we have the heroes, and I want to say items are really going to start playing a huge role in your builds at this point, because the better items you have, the more easier time you will have with these battles, and you can clear the content with lower levels than what you could if you didn't have those good items. And one of the main things you want to have cooldown items for your smith, because like I said, you're going to be bombarded constantly. You want to be able to keep up with the healing, and if you have good double cooldown items for smith, that's going to make your life a lot easier. I just have some single lines over here, but those will be enough for now. But if you can have items with double cooldown, that will be huge. Same for your pure wizard. He's one of your key heroes in every build, so if you can have double cooldowns item for this guy, that's also going to be a huge increase in your performance. You also want cooldown items for your Dark Necromancer and your Ice Sorcerer. We are using the Sorcerer promotion over here for the increased freezing range. In Waving build you would want to use the Ice Wizard, but in Colony builds we can use the Ice Sorcerer for the increased range. So those 4 heroes want cooldown items if possible. Then we have the Defender over here. He doesn't need anything. If you have some E-tier items with good usable yellow lines, you can use them on this hero, but otherwise he doesn't really need any item to work. And then we have the Druid. And we have the Druid node, if you remember. So we have increased summon unit damage per end, and also we have some castle defense per end. So ideally you will want to have +1 summoned unit item on both of your weapon and accessory. I have only one over here, so I'm only summoning 2 ends, but if you have +1 summon unit on both of them, you will have 3 ends. That will be 15% increased castle defense and 30% increased summon unit damage. That's going to be a huge boost to you. And secondary, if you can have some crowd control stun and knockback lines over here, that's better, but they are not really important priority. You should prioritize getting these summon unit plus summon unit items. And for the Dark Assassin, you will want cooldown and attack speed. I have some double attack speed in here to make sure he can apply the debuff as often as possible to the enemy monsters. For Dorothy, we are going to be using the Poison Branch promotion for the poison debuff to the enemy monsters, and if you can have +1 summoned unit items on Dorothy as well, that's good. I don't have. But you can also have like knockback, stun, attack speed. She's going to be another crowd control unit. She's not going to be a damage dealer in this build and in any build. Then the Slingers, and Slingers are your key role in your crowd control. Like I said, we have the Slinger node, which will make their attacks pierce the enemies, so they can also not only knock back the first enemies, but also the enemies after that. And because of that, you will want to have knockback items on Slingers for this colony build. Try to aim for having at least 2 knockback lines. If you can have more, that's better. And if you can fit in a slow line over here as well, that's going to be also... But I have double knockback over here, and I also have double knockback over here. Not max level yet on this account, unfortunately, but that's going to be more than enough knockback for Slingers for these battles. But try to aim for at least 2 lines of knockback for these guys. For the Dark Elf, one of your healers, the main priority is to get +1 arrow lines for both items. I only have 1 over here. If I had both, that would make my healing much better. And secondary, you will want some damage, critical chance, physical damage lines to boost them. But your main priority is to get these +1 arrow lines. Then our main damage dealer in this build is the Mad Giants. And also in here, +1 summoned units is the key, most important line you want to get from both items. And also in here, I only have 1. And after that, critical damage and critical chance to fill in these lines. And then if you can't have those, then just physical damage, stuff to boost your damage. But the most important also here, +1 summon unit, and then critical damage and critical chance. Another damage dealer in the build is going to be the Dark Bowmaster. You will want to have critical chance and critical damage on this guy. And if you can't have those, then just fill the slots with damage lines, maybe cooldown lines, if you are not having a great cooldown on your pure wizard yet. And for the leader, also one of the damage dealers in this build, Edward, it's pretty much the same as your giants. You will want to have +1 summon unit if you can, combined with damage lines, critical chance again. It's pretty much the same as giants. Like, usually if I get the items for my giants, if I get a better item for my giants, I really give the old giant item to my Edward. Like, it goes like that. They need the same kind of lines, but the most important dude should be your giants, and after that Edward. And that's all of the units we have in this build, and all of the item recommendations in a quick version. Now all that is left is to take a look at the battle and the results after that. So this is the fight of the last Orc colony I recorded earlier, and in the beginning of the battle you summon your summon units once, and then after that they will live a life on their own because we have to summon only once node and they are pretty much immortal. And after that you just keep on healing with your smith and freezing the enemies with your ice sorcerer and debuffing them with your dark assassin and casting dark necromancer and dark bowmaster once they are off cooldown. And since I don't have that great cooldown items on my smith yet, it's a little bit of a struggle to keep up with the healing compared to the damage the enemy catapults are giving, but still this is not that hard battle to win, and it's actually quite fast. And after that we can take a look at the results, and we will see that the giants are the #1 damage dealer in this build, followed by Edward and then Dark Bowmaster. And there we see it, giants, Edward and Dark Bowmaster. And the rest of the units are doing crowd control and playing their other part in this build. And that's it for the build and the battle, and I'm gonna be pinning some extra information in the comment section down below, so be sure to check that out after watching this video. And also if you have some questions, I will be happy to answer them. So also do post them down in the comment section below. And once again, I thank you so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me, and I hope this helps you conquering your colonies a little bit easier. I'm gonna see you next time, hopefully in another build video or another kind of casual content video. So until then, stay safe once again, my friends, and goodbye!